All right, here's a little video on the charged function of matter and duality with God that we all walk through here through our consumption portals, because we are all functions of God that are consuming energy through portals that we call our senses. The mouth, the ears, the eyes, the nose, and the hands, and all the ways they carry the weight that we expose them to. Um, so these are all negative disconnect portals, right? Because everything here on the earth, the energy of the earth is a negative function. The energy God is a positive function. So when we act as God, as a positive, and consume negatives as a function of us acting as God in violence, then we carry, instead of consuming negative charges like an apple, which feeds us and heals us, we carry a positive negative disconnect. And what that positive negative disconnect does is, these are all the functions of disease. Everything that causes disease in the world is because of what you consume all around you. So if we eat a steak, let's say, instead of an apple, well, that puts a stake through our hearts, right? Because it's a cow. It was a living, breathing angel of God here in standing in duality with you, and it's not here for you to consume. So what that does is it binds you, and you're with the positive negative. You're now carrying, in the negative disconnect portal, you're carrying a positive negative charge, and that positive negative charge binds in your throat and all through down in your intestines, and ties up your system through other system like blood. If it's got blood in it, it's going to go tie to your heart, right? And so what that does is it causes things, your intestines twist, and it causes your throat to twist, which I'm releasing now because I put that down. So God's allowing me to release those bindings, and so I can release my spine, which is a function of your ears. From not doing what God told you, you weren't listening, right? So I wasn't listening, not you. You weren't listening either, because that's why we're all here. But so these are all the functions that come to play as these bindings. We carry them, and they develop through our whole lives. And we start as little babies because we're fed these things as children. I was fed, I know, sitting on the couch with my dad, little pork and bean sandwiches and bites of ice cream, right? Yeah, it's toxic for children. Children should be eating things like apples and avocados, and not rice. Rice is a grass seed. So, and it differentiates between that and Genesis 1. If you notice that God created grass, herbs, and animals. So, and trees, basically. So we got grass and herbs are distinctly different. And so I don't eat any of the grass seeds like rice or corn or anything like that. And I don't eat anything we need to cook, because that requires fire, which is not, also not in Genesis 1. And fire is a dysfunctional tool of man that's handed to them by Satan when they're consuming incorrect things. So to realign yourself with the function of the planet, you have to eat within nature, where you could go out and these are the tools you have: your hands, your mouth, right, your ears, your eyes, your nose, and 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 then your skin tells you if you consume something that doesn't work for you. You might get a rash or something like that. So and what I've noticed is, because I don't use toilet paper anymore either, I use only my hand and water. And and now that I've dysfunctioned, released so much of these bindings, it's a clean break, and I don't have any problems with that. But what I've noticed, or what I'm working through, is that all the bindings through the intestines come back through both ends of the portal, right? So the two-ended portal, the mouth and an ass. And so what you don't realize is that you started those bindings as a little kid, and they're all bound up inside your body, and you can release them as you wipe your ass. You'll find them releasing, and your basically your ass comes out of your body. It's pretty insane. And it's everybody. Don't pretend it's not, because everybody's eating roots, and everybody's eating stalks, and everybody's eating leaves, and those are roots, are are the generative life of the plant. When you rip up by the roots, you're ending its generative function. And the stalks carry the further the next potential of the seed, right? So by eating the stalks of the celery, now you don't have any seed. So when you take these things away, then God says, oh, well, you get a little binding for that, right? And you carry those bindings all through your negative disconnect portal, which we call our mouth and our digestive function. And then our ears come into play, and our eyes and our nose, and the nose bindings hurt when you release them. They tie all in through the ears and back. Oh, it's you know. But what I've also God has told me, and is that when we all get in line, especially when you're in a family and everybody's in line and in agreement with we're going back to Genesis 1 and we're going to do this the way God told us, that the healing comes back to us, and healing touch is a real thing. And these things, you won't have to work as hard as I am, because basically nobody believes me at all. So I'm getting complete defiance to what I'm sharing, and everybody's telling me they don't believe me when I'm doing it right in front of them. And so I'm having to work really hard at releasing this stuff. But if you get everybody aligned and everybody's eating together and working together, it'll melt just by touching, right? Through shared touch. And the more touch you have generating, the more functional it is. And if you don't have family, the people that you know and as close as your family, if for whatever reason your family's been lost, or God bless. The other people around you that adopt you into theirs, they become your family. So life is a blessing of God. This is your promised land. This is your promised land, right? How you connect with God in this world matters, and it feeds your consciousness, and it creates your reality around you. And the reason that we're in such a dysfunctional nightmare is because everybody's chosen death as their generative function. And so we're living the recursive generations of death, and it's reincarnation coming and taking over where the last ones left off, and falling further, and God's handing us more covenants. And we're finally at the point where God's like, all right, everybody wake up now, because it's gone too far. And 84 billion land animals and over 1 trillion fish were killed, more than we consume, just for the sake of the cycle, right? And all the trees are supposed to be cut down in 300 years. That is the schedule. If we continue on the path we're on, we will consume all of the trees on the planet, and the trees don't want any part of that. So everything is conscious around you. The trees are conscious. They talk to you. I talk to the trees. They talk back with me. And that's not insane. That's reality. Insanity is thinking that trees aren't alive and you get to do whatever you want with them. And I'm telling you, when you cut off the limbs of a tree, well, it enjoys the use of all of its limbs just as much as you do, and you pay the price, right? You will suffer from that. So do not cut trees. It comes back to haunt you in horrible ways, all right? God bless.